There are 1,000,002 indicators out there, and there are a few that I use on a daily basis. Camarillo pivots are something that I trade with every single day. They are great support and resistance levels. Let's talk about the history of them and how to use them. They're actually not super complicated, right? How they came into existence, the math for them. You don't really need to know it off the top of your head. You can just plot the indicator on your chart. So this video is going to be really focused on how to use them in your trading strategy. I think that is far more important. It doesn't matter if you're using volume profiles, it doesn't matter if you're using RSI, it doesn't matter if you're using MACD, any of these indicators. It doesn't really matter how they work, to be honest. What is more important as a trader is how you use them in your system. Very quickly, my system of trading depends very heavily on price action analysis. So I spend most of my focus looking at volume at price, looking at the volume profile, looking at VWAP, right? And then I also use cam pivots as price targets as really the third layer within my system. So while I do use cam pivots every single day and I have them on my chart on NinjaTrader every single day, they are really the third layer to my system. Most of my entries and exits are based off of the volume profile. Use the cam pivot for Confluence. So I'll show you what I mean here in a second on my screen. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at how cam pivots are calculated. So we're going to do this the plain old simple way, and I'll just show you actually how I calculate them myself. So I actually wrote a Discord bot. I'm a bit of a programmer. Calculate cam pivots for any ticker, right? It's the same thing that you would get if you just did it, you know, in TradingView or something like that. So here's a definition I found on Forexpedia. Camarillo Pivot Points is a modified version of the classic pivot point. They were introduced in 1989 by Nick Scott, a successful bond trader. Again, there's not too much important to this. They use fib numbers, but let's just go down to the actual math of how they're calculated, right? So here's how you can calculate cam pivots. They are based off of, right, if I scroll back here, previous day's high, low, and closing price. You can see that in the math here. So if you actually just look at the equations, you can see H, which is high, L, which is low, and then the close, and then there is some, you know, division and multiplication that goes on. What this is going to give you is 8 levels in your day based off of yesterday's high, low, and close. That's the important thing, right? So you're looking at today's session and you're accounting for the high, low, and the close of yesterday. Now, why might that be important, right? I talk a lot about balance, talk a lot about the auction in the market. So market participation, recent market participation is very, very important as intraday traders, right? I'm trading intraday. For example, let's just talk about yesterday's high. If I'm looking at the high of yesterday, and we'll just open up the NQ chart here, and we have the, I don't know why this is adjusted. For looking at yesterday's high, or really this is Friday's high here, 17,634, and I do option J. Why might this price be important, right? Imagine that there is a set of trapped buyers here at yesterday's high. They got shooken out, maybe into the close, but maybe not all of them. Maybe not all of yesterday's trapped buyers here, people who went long here, that's a trapped buyer, got out. So imagine that the session opens, imagine it's Monday, which is not yet, still Sunday as of the time of me filming this. As we get to this level, what do you think the initial reaction is going to be as we get to this price? There's still some trapped buyers here, possibly. Now I could turn on the volume profile to inspect what market participation was here. I'm not going to do that just yet, but that's why the high is so important, right? And the reason why it's thinking about this session high and not this high is because this high is going to most likely have more trapped buyers than here, right? Because these guys were given an opportunity to get out, right? They were given an opportunity to get out. Here, these folks have not been given an opportunity to get out since this session has closed. Same with the low, is the exact inverse situation, right? So the high, low, and the close are very, very important for those reasons, right? Those were pivots in market participation, and anytime you have a pivot in participation, when we reapproach that level, it can act as support and resistance. If you're not subscribed to my channel, check us out. We do day trade live every single day. So it's myself and a gentleman named Soul in our Discord. The Discord is called Trade Edge. The link is down before. The link is wap.com/tradeedge. WAP is our sign up and kind of payment provider. So that is the correct link. We do have a free chat. If you want to get into the Discord for free, there's still a 1 month free trial. So you sign up for the premium, but you get a 1 month free trial. You won't be charged for a month until January 31st, right? So if you sign up before January 31st, you can get in for that 1 month free trial. After that, it's going back to the 7-day free trial. So you lose those 3 weeks. So sign up now. Or you can just hop into the free chat, which is you don't sign up at all. You just join the Discord and you can message us in the free chat. There's not real much trading activity in there, but we will answer your questions. So if you have questions, hop into the free chat. If you just want to talk to us, see what we're about, hop into the free chat. And then we also saw that there's some math there, calculating essentially fib numbers off of these levels. So that's how Camarillo pivots are calculated. I plotted one on my chart here. I usually don't use these on TradingView, but I want to use the TradingView chart because it's simpler to account for all the analysis. I tend to trade, and it's going to be complicated with 2 different charts. So I have my TradingView charts. There's a lot of them, all the different multi-time frame analysis. But then I also have NinjaTrader where I actually trade futures. So I do most of my execution there, and I have my cam pivots on my NinjaTrader chart. Why do I do that? It's because if I have all of these indicators on one chart, right, like the session volume profile, and then I have the visible range volume profile, it can get really noisy. So it allows me to have 2 different charts, kind of parallel thinking, one over here, one over there. That's how I do it. You don't have to do it like that. You do it however you want. Ultimately, becoming a good day trader is going to require you to take action, come up with systems that make sense for you. But I'm going to show you how I use them though. Let's actually go back to this previous session, and I'm going to do some replay. Let's actually go here. We'll go to the start of the session here. And is it actually going to give me my cam pivots though for this session? Because we're down here in the lower levels. Let me look at my chart. Let's look at the indicator. So this is the Camarillo pivot indicator that's plotted here. We can see here that there's these L1, L2, L3, and L4, then H1, H2, H3, and H4. The other really important thing with cam pivots is that it's the outer levels are the more important levels. So here's the 4 levels for this session. Actually, let's quit our replay. I don't like this example. Let's go back to, all right. So this was 2 sessions ago, and we want the session volume profile, which is already on. Cool. Whew. All right. A lot going on. Thanks for bearing with me. So want to find a good example for this. So there's 2 things. I don't have the VWAP turned on, but you can kind of see how we have inside of the cam pivots that were calculated for this day. We wicked around this first level, came into this other first level, but we really haven't broken out of this tight range here, right? We're still in the pre-market. We came up to this level here, and we kind of respected it. So the first way that I use cam pivots is I see how much do we respect them inside the session. And there's a very binary decision that I make where I'm either going to use cam pivots on the day or I'm not. That's how I use a lot of indicators, right? I do the same thing with VWAP as well. There are days where the R3, R4 levels, really all the levels will hit every single time on the first touch. I'll re-say that again, right? I'll actually put it in here in the video for you all. Some days cam pivots always hit first touch. Okay. And when that happens, you can always get a scalp. So if I'm looking at NQ and I'm trading NQ, then I know that anytime we get to this level here at 17,666, I can short, and I'm going to get, heck, in this case, this was a 26-point short, came up again, and you would have got a 29-point short off of this level. And you just do that until it doesn't work. You could put your stops very, very tight. It doesn't matter if the trade is right or not, right? The risk on the trade is really, really good. And I don't mean the risk in terms of the point loss. I mean the risk in terms of the actual thesis. What are the odds that this trade hits? It's a high odds trade. We tested it once. We came back down. We're in a range of market. So I anticipate that we're going to range again. We come back up to here, touch it again. I re-short, and I put my stop right after there, right? So I did an entire video talking about how your stop should be based off of the trade thesis. Well, you just put your stop right there for that trade. So let's actually step forward in the market. We had a huge opening candle on the 15, came way down to what was a POC at the time, broke through this higher cam level, right? So at this point, we have one more cam level up here. We've broken this level. I'm thinking that we're probably going to want to chase up some more in this area, right? Now, I am using hindsight a little bit in this price action because, I saw what the chart looked like, but even without hindsight or anything like that, that's what I would think, right? We cracked this level on the 15. It still is early in the day, but I'm expecting us to play around in this price a little bit more. But we might return, to the mean a little bit on the session. If I want to see where the mean is, I could turn on VWAP. I can see that VWAP is way down there. It's a little bit messy, so I'm going to turn that back off. Let's replay another candle. Comes up a little bit higher, tests a little bit higher, tests a little bit higher, and we finally get a rejection. So we rejected down, and you'll notice that we came right back down to this cam level, right? So at this point in the market, I am looking at volume and price. We can see that we have this like B distribution in the volume profile. And I'm really thinking if we're going to respect this level and rock it, we're going straight up to this fourth level. If not, we're really going to come back down to POC. We're going to fly through these levels. Why? Because we cracked them on the way up. Comes down, cool. All right, so now I'm expecting us to probably come back down to the VAL or something like that. Comes down, cool. You can see that we got pretty close to the VAL, but we didn't touch it exactly. So at this point, I'm pretty hands off. I'm thinking, I don't like that we bounced off of no man's land here, right? We didn't respect this cam pivot or this VAL touch perfectly. And so I'm very, very careful about what's going to happen next, right? I want the structure to break higher. I want to see what the market's going to do at this point, right? This was a nice bounce. There was volume here. So you could have chased this long or something like that, but you see it came right up to where the current POC was at and it cracked that high. So it cracked that high, came back down, rejected, right? So now price action is getting a little bit erratic, but in terms of cam pivots, if I'm just thinking about cam pivots in this session and how I look at them, I'm looking at how many times and which levels did we respect. So early morning, we were playing around with this level. We respected it. We cracked it on the way down, bounced, and we're cracking these levels up here. So I'm not really too keen to take a first touch unless it's this level down here or this level down here. This level right here, I'm very cautious because we're so close to it. We're coming up to the VAL that we might just blow through it, right? And that's how you have to think about these levels. There isn't just a simple, binary, this is when you do it, this is when you don't do it. You have to read the candles for what they are. You have to look at volume. And again, that's why I mentioned I like to use them for Confluence. So we see that we came down again. Let's look. We do this live every day on the Discord, by the way. Like, this is literally just what we do when we're reading price action. Obviously, I'm doing this on the 15-minute time frame, and I don't have bookmap and all that. It's a replay, so it's not exactly the same. But we can see we're starting to build value here, right? So all these 15-minute candles, we have a bunch of bottom wicks here, building value. Curious, all right, are we going to come up to R4 because we have all these bottom wicks, or is this going to be a really slow barcode round over, descent to probably this lower wick down here? Let's see what we get. So we had this one top wick. We started to go sideways, right? Started to go sideways, low volume bottom wicks though. We came up, we touched the R4, then we rejected. So the round over thesis was the correct thesis. We came up, could have had a resting short at this, fourth level resistance to catch a trade down. And if you're going to take these trades, we talk about trading at the extremities of the market. Literally, you could do this many sessions is just have a short at R4 up here, right? With a very tight stop, and have a long at S4 down here with a very tight stop. If the cam pivots are being respected, your trade will hit and you're going to get a very nice, this went from that level down to the VAL, 78 points. Probably wouldn't hold it through the POC myself, right? Which is still 44 points, right? The point of control here in the middle. If you're curious what the point of control is, you can watch my other video on that. Comes down lower, a little bit of, we have dropping off volume here, and it came down and it dropped off on this level. Now, at this point in the market, it's 12:30. I'm not even trading this anymore, to be honest. All right, so we can still evaluate what happened in the candles, but I'm done with this session, right? I would have hopefully caught either one of the longs at the open, if I had that read, or a short off of R4, and that's it. Like, those are two big trades. You're probably netting 50 points on the day. You don't need more than that, guys. If you traded this chop here, right, and we say it every day, don't trade this chop. This is where people always do it. They always trade the chop, get chopped up, and then they whine about it. Don't do that, right? Just trade the extremities of the market, coming back into the mean. We can see where the VWAP is right now. We see VWAP is here. So this short I would have taken up here into the PM VWAP. I would have exited here 100%. Holding through this for me, I'll be honest with you guys, I would not have had that read, right? Even if it was heavy, if there was more volume, we did have a nice, high volume rejection here. But for me to say it was going to come to VAL past POC with such a strong distribution here, I just would not have had that read, right? So I would have exited at POC, short from R4, exit at POC, right? And the reason that I would have done that, right, from R4 is Confluence, right? And that was the very first thing I said with this video. So there's a lot of stuff on the chart, but we're going to zoom in. So we can see that there's a cam level here with these red dots. And we can also see that the POC was right down here. And we see that VWAP, this blue line, is here. Tons of Confluence. I would have exited. Now, you're probably saying, but Forrest, it kept going. Yeah, but I'm not shorting through that. I'm not holding a trade through that, right? And that's just experience. It's also, if I look at the time of the market, it's 12 o'clock. I might have had some thesis about, because of the time that maybe it's going to make a move that big. But again, holding for greed past, 66 points, 65 points is crazy. I probably would have high levered for a few points, left some runners, and I'm done on the day. I actually did take some trades on this day. I can't remember because I've been on the road for the past week or so. So I can't remember what trades those were. And now it's not playing my candles. So play a few more candles, 1300. There it goes. It's just lagging heavily. So it came down to this VWAP band, bounced there. Was there any Confluence with a cam pivot? Not sure there. Let me actually get rid of, we don't need VWAP. This indicator is going crazy now on the replay. came down, punched through this level. So at this point, I'm paying attention to the last two levels. These are the only levels that I care about at this point, right? This one here, and this one here, the only two levels I care about. And I'm looking for longs at this point, right? If I'm not holding a short, exiting, if you were in a short, I would have exited here for sure. We just sweeped yesterday's low. So I definitely would have exited right at this cam pivot or at this cam pivot, looking at a sweep of the low. You see that we do get a bottom wick there. And at this point, it's this is only 215. Bar replay can't be connected. Let's see if we can fix this video. This thing absolutely exploded. So despite that interruption, the important parts there are confluence. Purely looking for confluence between the cam pivots and VWAP is probably the premier or the best way to do this, in my opinion, as well as the volume profile. Now, if you're looking at the volume profile on the higher time frame, you should have a thesis for the day based off the higher time frame and your volume profile. That's like level one. Intraday, you're looking for confluence between the session volume profile, VWAP, and the cam pivots. But really, you do not want to lose sight of that first thesis that was built on the higher time frames in the volume profile. For example, let's say that on the daily volume profile, there's a low value node down here, right? And we punch through this cam level, and we see that we swept yesterday's low. That's another level of confluence. That's easy to forget about because you're zoomed in on the 15-minute chart, but there might be something there on the daily or the 4-hour or the 8-hour chart, right? So cam pivots, if I had to summarize this video, the really, really important thing to remember is that they are best used at the extremes. So the R3 and R4 levels. If we look at the setup for the indicator, we can see that there's all these different levels, right? So these are the resistance, these are the support. They call them H1 and L here, which is weird, but I call them like R1, which is resistance 1 through resistance 4, support 1 through support 4. Focus on the extremes, the extreme levels. So we see that we traded into this one and we bounced off of this one. A quick touch here. This is a perfect example of what it will do on these outside cam levels. And they're great places to take trades. A lot of people will get chopped up or run through on these inside levels every single day. See it all the time, expecting the market to, quickly reverse. But just be patient, guys. You only need one of these, right? So look for confluence in the extremes, trade into the mean, and it's a really, really easy trade. But that's how I use them. So there might be other people who use just cam pivots, for entries and exits. I use cam pivots really for quick touch scalps into the mean. Very similar to what I do with VWAP, right? So my video where I'm talking about VWAP trading or trading into the mean, which is like my base hit play every single day. It's all I'm really looking for. I'm using cam pivots to get more precision on that play. All I use them for, that's how I use them. Yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope this was helpful. Kind of is a very straightforward, to the point, nothing crazy or magical here. If there are some nuance here, things that didn't make sense to you, check out my volume profile video, which will help you understand the volume profile, which is this indicator here, which shows you volume at price. And also watch my VWAP video, which will help you understand how I use VWAP in its bands. So I'll turn it on and I will turn the other things off. So this is the volume weighted average price in blue. Then it's first. This is the first band. This is the second band. This is the third standard deviation band, right? So VWAP and its 1 through 3rd standard deviation bands, which I also use. And you'll notice that it bounced around in these bands, okay? I prefer VWAP. I think VWAP is magical at this point. It's my favorite indicator, as long as it's standard deviation bands. And so cam pivots I use as a way to get precision or a really confluence around the bands as well as the volume profile. So it's never just one thing. I know I've said it multiple times. People always say, how to use this thing? It's like, as discretionary traders, you have to use discretion, right? Our edge is in being able to figure out what the next few candles might do with a higher degree of certainty than flipping a coin, right? That's really what it is. And you only need to do that a few times a day. If you can do that a few times a day, you'll be net positive on the day, the week, or the month, right? That's your goal. Just like every other video, I always talk about risk management, right? So if you hit your trades early in the session and you win, shut it down, right? You're very unlikely to maintain that edge throughout the day. As a matter of fact, I will say you won't maintain that edge throughout the day. It's not going to happen. There's always a chop period, right? After the market makes a big move, it's going to consolidate. And in that consolidation period, it's really hard as discretionary traders for us to figure out what that next candle is going to do, right? We're best at being able to see the market after it's played its hand for a while, to where it gives us a clear picture of like, oh, I've seen this before. This is very likely to happen next. So either the breakout, right? A true breakout though, or playing the range on the extremes, knowing the market behavior, knowing that it's going to come back to the mean most likely, unless it's a trend day. right? That's how we as discretionary traders can maintain or have some edge for a period of a session, doing higher time frame analysis, incorporating that with intraday. Those are all things that we can do. If you're not subscribed to my channel, check us out. We do day trade live every single day. So it's myself and a gentleman named Sol in our Discord. The Discord is called Trade Edge. The link is down before. The link is wap.com/trade edge. WAP is our sign up and kind of payment provider. So that is the correct link. We do have a free chat. If you want to get into the Discord for free, there's still a 1 month free trial. So you sign up for the premium, but you get a 1 month free trial. You won't be charged for a month until January 31st. Right. So if you sign up before January 31st, you can get in for that 1 month free trial. After that, it's going back to the 7-day free trial. So you lose those 3 weeks. So sign up now, or you can just hop into the free chat, which is you don't sign up at all. You just join the Discord and you can message us in the free chat. There's not real much trading activity in there, but we will answer your questions. So if you have questions, hop into the free chat. If you just want to talk to us, see what we're about, hop into the free chat, send me a DM. Tons of disclaimers. In any case, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. Thank you for stopping by. Subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Peace.